All right, what is up, my friends? Welcome to our full set review for Strixhaven School of Mages. We're doing blue. So far we've done lessons, their own section for lessons because they're kind of like half magic cards, and white, and now we're doing blue. Anything you missed is on my YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. Watch out, make sure you follow. I love y'all. Y'all great. Also check out coolstuffinc.com, my sponsors as well. No Mystic Archives today. Mystic Archives, I already covered my cool stuff article last Friday. Went over every single one, 4,000 words. Go look for that. Enough yapping, talky boy.
The corkscrew curls remind me of Shirley Temple.
Thanks, Gigi. Appreciate it. Let's start with, let's go on to blue. Blue, our first card here is Arcane Subtraction. A lot of math in this set. Not really about it. 2 mana for an instant. Target gets -4/-0 on the turn. Learn. Now, if you missed our thing about lessons, real fast. Learn's a new mechanic. It's a weird one. Learn says you may reveal a lesson card you own from outside the game and put it in your hand. So you can go wish to your sideboard and get a lesson card and put it in your hand. Or, everyone misses this card, misses this part. You can rummage. You can discard a card to draw a card, which is very relevant in certain scenarios. So whenever you're looking at a learn card, you're looking at half magic card because it's sort of like a cantrip, but you don't know what the card you're drawing is yet. So you only get half of it. So the learn cards, I mean the lesson cards, again, I've already gone over them. That was the first thing I did, so we can have proper context for all of these learn cards. There are things like 3 mana draw a card, 3 mana disenchant, kind of stuff like that. 5 mana make a 4/4 token. So they're all like cards, but when you combine it with this card, it's kind of free. So not a card for constructed, obviously. In limited, if this card cost 1 blue, I'd be all about it. Like all about it. But at 2 mana, not really super worth it, I don't think. It's just like not even close to worth a card. And the lesson card you're gonna get also gonna be not really worth a full card. So it's okay. It's not the worst, but definitely one of the worst lesson cards. Not super exciting. But good to start on learn here. So we can all learn about learn. I said we can all learn about learn. Anyway, Archmage Emeritus. I'm gonna say it like Cletus. Archmage Emeritus. Blue 2 creature human wizard 2/2. We're hitting both the mechanics right away. Mage Crafts. Mage Craft is whenever you cast an instant or sorcery or copy an instant or sorcery, you can draw a card. So this card is like completely broken. If you're able to get it in play in older formats. Cast Dark Ritual, draw a card. Cast Desperate Ritual, draw a card, etc., etc. Resub Jay, thanks so much. But it is also a 4 mana 2/2. So in standard, probably not. You play your thingy, they stomp it and laugh at you and then beat you, and you feel really dumb. In older formats, resolving this thing and then storming off, also pretty tough. So this is similar to, this is a card from Mirrodin like this. It was a blue 2 for like an 0/3 that drew a card and you played an artifact. Totally broken if you can get it in play, but it just costs 4. It dies to everything. It gets mystical disputed. It's just like really tough to actually get in play, despite being utterly broken if it is in play. And just probably not worth the effort unless you're playing some weird combo deck that can get it out really quick, which is possible for sure. If this card was like red or black, it'd probably be insane in older formats, but definitely a card that probably won't make it constructed. In limited, totally busted. I mean, play it. If they don't kill it, you win the game on the spot. But I think this card is definitely somewhat of a trap for sure in constructed. Yeah, Bone Crusher Giant. Poor Bone Crusher Giant. Up next is Berg Befuddler. Perfect for Frog Monday. Frog Monday, April Fool's joke. 2/1 flash comes into play. Creature gets -1/-0. So this is kind of like a more reasonable version of, we see this effect a lot in basically every set, where it's like some random 1/1 for 1 that gives -2/-0. Some random like 1/2 flyer for 3 that gives -2/-0. This body is much more reasonable. Like a 2/1 for 2 is already like pretty fine limited. It's not great, but it's fine. And then having this effect where like your random 2/1 for 1 can like win a combat for you. Like my 3/3 attacks your 3/3. Up, now you lose the combat. It's pretty sweet. So it's a solid card. The problem is like, what deck wants this card, like an aggro deck, like a more slow deck, you know, but it's definitely a very reasonable card. Good solid draft card. And for your frog deck constructed, good luck. What do you think, Igor? He's awake. He's awake. Hi, Igor. How's it going, buddy? So, Befuddler. Up next is Burying Books. 5-mana instant. Costs 2 less on an attacking creature. Creature goes into its owner's library, second from the top. So, pretty mediocre removal spell in limited. 5 mana to pseudo exile their creature for a turn or two is like, it's not great. It's okay. It's passable. You'll play it if you're desperate for removal, but like it's not super exciting. Defensively, similar to the white defensive kill an attacker card or kill a tap creature card, it's a lot better. 3 mana to hit an attacker is certainly fine, but again, it's not going away forever, you know. And if you've got a plan to close the game, it's coming right back. So an okay tempo card, pretty clunky, just like an okay draft card. Nothing super exciting here. Just kind of eh. Up next is Curate. 2 mana instant. Look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put any number of them back or into your graveyard. Put the rest back on top. Draw cards. It's sort of like, this is basically just a surveil, right? This is 2 mana instant speed surveil draw card. The sorcery speed version of this card was pretty bad. People would play it, but it was pretty bad. It was called Discovery. True resub, thanks so much. As an instant, it's a lot better. You know, this card is somewhat similar to a card like Omen of the Sea. If there's a deck that wants to do graveyard stuff, this card's pretty reasonable. I'm a pretty big fan of strategic planning, but it's a sorcery, so being an instant is a pretty big idea. But it's not great. You know, we're not slamming on rate here. It's just like an okay card. And if there's graveyard stuff, then sure. If not, it's okay. In limited, this is great because any card that's cheap, cantrips, and triggers Mage Craft is awesome. There's a lot of Mage Craft effects, so limited, fantastic. Constructed, it's possible, but not super exciting. Divide by 0. Wait, what? You can't do that.
Inconceivable!
You can't do that.
No!
So, divide by 0, 3 mana for instant. Return target spell or permanent with mana value 1 or greater to owner's hand, and then learn. So, pretty mopey, like tempo-y spell here. What's it called? I forget. What's it called? The 2 mana one. I can't remember. It bounces a spell or permanent. It's the exact same card as this. Is not very good. Bouncing a spell or permanent is just not boomerang. It's unsubstantiate. That's the one. Thank you. Unsubstantiate's pretty unplayable in most scenarios. Like, you really need to have a specific reason why you want to use it, because this ain't remand. You know, we're not drawing a card here. Now, we are learning, but learning is not really drawing a card. And again, whenever you have a learn card, think about it as the amalgamation of the card you're casting and the card you're learning for. And that's not great, you know, because 3 mana to bounce isn't very good. I was really excited for a little bit because I thought this card could bounce a Shatter Skull Pass or Shatter Skull whatever, like the land side of Shatter Skull Smashing. It cannot. It cannot. However, it could bounce as Scant of a Sunken Ruin. So flip cards are different than the modal double face spells. Flip cards are the mana cost on both sides. Flip cards or modal double face non-transform cards are whatever cost they are on each side. So it's an instant. It is okay. This card's not very good. This card's not very good. Okay and limited. It's okay and limited because learning is fine. It's Mage Crafts, so on and so forth. Constructed, not playable at all. Not playable at all. Up next is Dreamstrix. This card's actually pretty good. So a 3/2 flyer for 3 is reasonable. Not amazing, but reasonable. Whenever it becomes a target of a spell, sacrifice it. Most things that would target this would kill it anyway, right? You know, if you sneeze on this card, it's going to die. It's got two toughness. And whenever it dies, you learn. So this is basically like a 3/2 flyer for 3. When it dies, you draw a card. Close to that. Draw like half a card-ish, you know? That's pretty good. The big question is, what deck wants this card? I don't know. You know, like realistically, in Constructed, not many. It dies as a stomp. It does Physical Bone Crusher, which is super cool. Kind of a fun use of the downside being an upside. But it's just like, okay. You know, it's a card that could see play if there's a deck that wants it. But in Constructed, it's kind of just like, all right, limited total bomb. Just phenomenal first pick. The 3/3 flyer for 3 is already good and limited. And then when it dies, your card advantage is phenomenal. So super cool limited card. Constructed, it's definitely good enough on rate. I'm not sure what card you want. So that's Dreamstrix. Countering Bone Crusher is pretty cool. That's pretty nice. Next up is Frost Trickster, which is a flying version of Frost Lynx. And Frost Lynx is already a solid card in limited. 2/2 comes into play, tap something, and it's stuck tap for a turn. This card's got flying, though, and that makes this card freaking awesome. Great draft common. Great draft common. We know this effect from Bergstrider. Just super powerful effect. Just a great card. People are asking in chat, what are the best lessons to fetch? I started off the entire review with lessons. I did every lesson first because I wanted to go over how they're like not really full spells. If you missed that, it'll be on YouTube later. Definitely go watch that because the lessons are really weird and you just got to go over that. All right. What's up, Thurs? So yeah, Frost Trickster is a bomb draft common. Super great draft common. Constructed, no, but super great draft common. Up next is Ingenious Mastery. And this is a little weird. This should just be a split card. This is basically just, you can pay 3 mana, and you draw 3. Your opponent makes 2 treasures and scries 2. Or you can pay 3 mana and X and draw X cards. So it's a really bad Mind Spring, which is not very good. Mind Spring is blue, X, draw X cards. Or you can pay 3 to draw 3 where your opponent gets treasures and scry. Now, this is the kind of card, obviously, in combo decks, where like you don't care your opponent's getting stuff because you're just going to win the game anyway. Those decks don't really exist anymore. Those are more like decks that were played and extended and stuff. So this card is it's okay. It's not great. It is very funny to compare this card to the white card. White card is each player draws 3. The blue card is you draw 3 and they get a few treasures. So that's white versus blue in a nutshell. But this card is probably not good enough. Your opponent will usually be able to use the treasures and blow you out in some way. Opponent scrying 2 is pretty good also. So you have to say they're an aggro deck. They're all 1-drop aggro deck, you know. They get 2 treasures. They scry for a good card. Is it worth it? You know, like not really. If it costs 2 maybe, but like this card's pretty mopey. In limited, this card's fine. You can just like tap 6, draw 3 cards. But and it's also very splashable. But constructed is just kind of eh. Up next is Kelpie Guide. 3 mana for 2/2. Beast. This can untap permanents you control. And then if you have 8 or more lands in play, which is one of the Quandrix like themes, you can tap your opponent's stuff. This card's really good. This card is like a solid ramp card. You can like ramp with this to untap your lands. You can untap your 5/5 to attack with it. Pretty reasonable card in general. And then late in the game, it's just a freaking icy, which is awesome. So that's great. So super solid card. Solid draft card for sure. Could see play for some weird combo deck in standard that wants you to untap lands or whatever, but like it's draft card. Up next is Mentor's Guidance, and this is the blue entry into the. Oh no, it's not. I'm sorry. Maybe it is. I don't know. 3 mana for a sorcery. Scry 1, draw a card. But if you have a planeswalker, a cleric, a druid, a shaman, a warlock, or a wizard, you get a copy of a spell. So it ends up being scry 1, draw 1, scry 1, draw 1. That's pretty good. Divination with that kind of upside is pretty nice. And again, most important, the copy here is huge because Mage Crafts triggers off of copies and playing a spell. This is 2 Mage Craft triggers and 2 cards and 2 scries for only 3 mana. This card's pretty good. In limited, this card's phenomenal. Like phenomenally good. And then in constructed, definitely possible, depending on how good Mage Craft is and so on and so forth. But good card. A lot better than it looks. Up next is Multiple Choice. Can we just take a second here and admire the design of this card? Let's admire it. What? Multiple Choice is a blue and X. If X is 1, scry 1, then draw. It's 2 mana, scry 1, draw a card. Not very good. You know, it's a sorcery opt. If X is 2, you can have a player return a creature. Not targeted, just they choose a creature to bounce. So not very good. If X is 3, you get a 4/4. Right off the bat, this card's great and limited. This is a 4 mana 4/4, which is great. It's easy game. 4 mana 4/4 with upside. That's great. If X is 4 or more, do all the above. You get it? Multiple choice. It's like a test. The D is the O. You get the idea, right? So For limited, this card is insane. This is 5 mana for a 4/4 that draws a card and bounces a creature. That's awesome in limited. That is awesome. Does everything in limited. It's funny how X as 5 or 6 doesn't do anything, but limited, this card is phenomenally good. Like, easy first pick. Phenomenal draft card. Super value. Super value. Now, in constructed, I'm not sure what deck wants a cantripping 4/4 for 5. You know, it's a spell. The fact that it's a spell and a creature is cool for Mage Craft decks, but realistically, it's okay. You know, I could see it maybe seeing play constructed. Maybe. And some like backdoor scenario may be possible, but in limited, this card's an absolute house. It's a bomb. Very good limited card. And splashable too. Yeah, better than Bergstrider, which is like pretty high praise, right? Moving on. Pop quiz, hotshot. The mana for an instant, draw a card, and learn. So again, now this is like, we see 4 mana is usually the cost to draw 2. 3 mana will draw 2 at sorcery speed. So we have an instant here, but technically draws 2 cards for 3 mana. Now, in limited, again, anything that triggers Mage Craft and draws a card is very good. So in limited, it starts already reasonable. In constructed, not nearly as much. The lesson cards aren't good enough to really like push this card into reasonable areas, and there's just better options to draw cards. So constructed, not really hyped about this card. Limited, absolutely. Any card in limited, folks, listen to this real fast. Any card in limited that has an instant or a sorcery and draws a card for a reasonably cheap cost is very good for Mage Craft. End of story. End of story. Moving on. Reject. Hey, it's my preview card. Big thanks to Wizards of the Coast for allowing me to preview this card. Pretty good counterspell. Reject, 2 mana for an instant. It mana leaks creatures or planeswalkers. If it's countered that way, it gets exiled. This card is going to be relevant the more relevant the exile effect is. This thing is exiling Skyclave Shades or other kind of recursive creatures. That's awesome. It's obviously limited to only creature or planeswalker, which is like, you know, kind of limiting. Not a card you're playing 4 of, probably. But at doing what this card does is very reasonable. You can counter bigger things, obviously. Rogues can sideboard this to counter. It counters Croxa, which is super cool. Woe Strider gets exiled. Just a fine card. It's not great. It's not amazing, but it's fine. It's a solid counter spell. In limited, it's a little better because there's more creatures, obviously, but it's going to depend how tempo-y the games feel. If the games are very fast, it's a very tempo format, then it's good, but I get the feeling it's not going to be like that with lessons and stuff. So it's probably like, it's okay. You know, it's fine. The problem also in limited is that there's a lot of cards that make creatures that aren't creatures. All the lessons that make a token are very good. So like they tap 5, make a 4/4 token, and you're just like, oh, I got this card here. It didn't do anything. So more of a constructed card than a limited card, but could definitely see some play in constructed. Up next is Resculpt, 2 mana for an instant. Exile an artifact or creature, and then make a 4/4. So we've seen this card before in like white a lot. It's okay. You know, it's kind of cool to use on your own stuff. If you're playing Witherbloom and you have these random like 1/1 tokens in play, you can just like, bam, now it's a 4/4. Block your 3/3. It's kind of cool. And then occasionally, if your opponent's got like a 9/9 in play, you can make it a 4/4. That's not very good though. But think of this more like sacrifice an artifact or creature, make a 4/4. There are also effects that make treasures in this set. This can sort of like upsize your treasure to a 4/4, which is pretty good as well. The fact is this is an instant, so it makes this card reasonable. At sorcery, not really about it. But at instant speed, because you can do stuff. Also, your opponent goes to kill your creature. Say you have a 4/4 in play, right? And they have 3 2/2s. And they go, kill your creature in combat. And you're like, I'll kill it first, make a 4/4. And now you're still blocking. That's a pretty big deal. So, reasonable limited card. Again, think of it targeting your own stuff, not their stuff. And think of it as, you need to find fodder for this, but it can be a reasonable card. Not great, but okay. And constructed, no way. I mean, maybe if you want to turn like your treasures and stuff, like you can go turn 1 and Threat Inspector, turn 2, hit the clue and make a 4/4, but like it's like not even good. So, Moving on, Serpentine Curve. Serpentine. You say serpentine, I say serpentine. 4 mana for a sorcery. Make a 0/0 fractal with X counters on it, where X is 1, plus the total number of instant sorcery cards you own in exile and your graveyard. So you're playing a very spell-heavy, like spell matters deck. That's just an idiot, you know. I have 4 spells in my thing. I play this to 5/5. It's okay. It's okay. Bad against bounce. But a fine playoff if you're some sort of like, you know, spelly deck. And with all the spell mage stuff, or Mage Craft stuffs, all the cantrips are pretty important. But just an okay card. It's a limited kind of, it's a limited, like, you know, archetype card. Up next is Snowday. Blue 4, instant. Tap 2 creatures. They don't untap next turn. Draw 2, discard 1. Kind of a weird card, because sleep is a limited game ender. That's like tap all your stuff, doesn't untap. So like, I'm attacking you, I tap all your stuff, attack, you don't untap, attack, kill you. It's like a, you know, a can't block effect. This one costs 6 though, which is a lot for that kind of game ending effect. And then typically if you're going to end the game with attacks, you don't really care about drawing random cards. So like, this is like 2 cards that are kind of anti-synergistic, kind of working together. Now, you can't use it defensively. So like, your opponent's trying to kill you and you just go, wait, let's take a snow day. Let's slow this down. And then draw some cards and stuff, which is kind of cool. But it's only draw 2, discard 1. So it reminds me a bit of Run Ashore, I believe, the 6 mana instant from the last set. And it's the kind of card where like, you're not always going to play it, but it can be good if you are lacking in top end things to do. So if your curve kind of ends at like 3 or 4, looking for a big play, it's fine. It's reasonable, but it does seem a little at odds with itself, and obviously not playable constructed. Next card is Solve the Equation. 3 mana sorcery, 2 to your library for an instant or sorcery. This is like your typical only good in combo decks kind of card. You know, maybe like Storm or some Brawl deck wants in some combo format. Totally unplayable otherwise. Just way too expensive. If it's an instant, maybe. If it costs 2, maybe. As a 3 mana sorcery, way too slow. Yeah, sure, commander card, whatever, sure, yeah. Up next is Soothsayer Adept. 2 mana for a 1/3 looter. Tap 2, draw a discard. This is going to depend a lot on what's the size of 2 drops in the format, and then what's the relevance. Is it a slow or fast format? So if the game's going to go really long and you want to filter your lands, this card's reasonable. If the 1/3 body is a good blocker, reasonable, but not very exciting. Just kind of like an card. Looters are a lot worse than they used to be because all the cards are good now. So just okay. Just okay. You know, it's a kind of card where if it's in your deck, it's fine. For slower decks, it's all right. It's just like not great though. I think looters in general are pretty overrated. Just not great. Symmetry Sage.
Excellent.
Say what now? This is a little more for older formats than for standard. But Symmetry Sage is a pretty cool card. 1 blue, human wizard, flying. Has Mage Crafts. Whenever you cast or copy a spell, an instant sorcery, creature you control gets base power 2 until end of turn. So as long as you're playing a spell each turn, this is a 2/2 flyer for 1. So in older formats, that's really easy to do, right? You know, we're just playing Opt, Serum Visions, and maybe Gataxian Probe in some format that's legal in maybe. But definitely a cool old card. Is a wizard for Historic and for Pioneer. For Wizard's Lightning, works very cool with prowess creatures, because if you target your prowess creature with this, it stacks on top of the prowess. So like, say I have a Swift Spear in play. It's a 1/2. And I lightning bolt you. I can target the Swift Spear, and it's +1/+1 for prowess, and now it's a base 2/2. It's a 3/3, which is pretty cool. So definitely worse than Delver of Secrets. But the thing is that like Delver isn't good in Modern because there aren't any like brainstorms or stuff like that. So it's better than Delver in that respect. It's fine. It's not great. Honestly, the blue cards are pretty thin. There really isn't like a great blue card that stood out to me. So like this is best in show, but like it's not really saying that much. But solid card, very reasonable. In limited, less exciting. We'll see a lot of ways to trigger it. And then in constructed, maybe if there's a deck that wants it, but it's kind of hard to find a deck that might want this. But seems reasonable. And yeah, more of a constructed card. Honestly, more of an older format card, but a pretty cool card that I think is definitely has a chance to see play. 1 mana is great. Solid card. Solid card. That's our best in show for blue. It's not kind of a slim pickings here in blue. I'm not gonna lie. Up next is Tempted by the Auric. Blue, 1 sorcery. For each opponent, gain control up to 1 target creature or planeswalker that player controls. Mana value 3 or less. This is for your commander decks. Go have fun stealing all the stuff. I'm sure this card's a very, very good commander. Constructed, I mean, it could see play. You could steal their Love Sharp Beast or whatever, but not super exciting. In limited, this card's pretty awesome. Very hard to cast, but just taking a random 3/3 is awesome. That's just like a 2-for-1. You just kill their creature and get a 3/3, which is awesome. So think of this like a Ravenous Chupacabra unlimited, possibly even better than that. And it is blue though. It is blue. And that's basically it. Up next is Test of Talents. 2 mana instant. Counter an instant or sorcery spell. Search controller's graveyard, hand, and library for exile. So this is just a cranial extraction effect for Lost Legacy, etc. For instant sorceries. This card is very good at doing a very specific small thing. This is like a sideboard modern card. You're not just playing this card to hit their mana leaks or their whatever. That's not good. It's okay, but it's not good. This is against combo decks that, hitting life from a loam, hitting Past in Flames, hitting some sort of like really niche thing. Even if you counter Ultimatum with this, their deck is still good. They can still beat you. Cranial Extraction Boomer, yes, I know. Hit Gifts Ungiven, sure. Scape Shift, sure. The thing is that, like, that's just like okay. It's like, that's fine. It's not the end of the world. Any reasonable deck can still beat it, So it's fine. It's fine. It's not great. It's definitely a solid sideboard. It's very narrow. It's good at what it does, but what it does is very, very narrow. People freaking love cards like this. They love them. They see cards, they're like, oh my god, I'll get all their ultimatums. There's no way they can win anymore. And then their opponent just like cycles Shark Dive over 8 and beats them anyway. Like, people freaking just love this card. People love cards like this. It's not as good as you think it is. It's a very specific tool. It does a very small, specific thing. And it does it reasonably well. So it's fine. Not amazing, fine. Unplayable in limited, obviously, unless you're like boarding it in or whatever. So up next is Vortex Runner. 3 mana for a 2/3. You have 8 or more lands. It's a 3/3 unblockable. Limited filler card. Just limited filler. Up next is Waterfall Aerialist. 4 mana for a 3/1 flyer with Ward. Ward is a new ability for the Frost Titan shields. It's basically Kira shields or Frost Titan shields, where it's Ward and then a thing or cost, and that cost is in addition to whatever targets it. So if I want to stop this, I got to pay 2 extra, or it'll get counterspelled. There's also Ward like 3 life on other cards, so like you got to like bolt it and pay 3 and then do that. So slightly harder to kill flyer, a reasonable limited card. It's okay. It's okay. A 3/1 flyer is not particularly great in limited. Like a vanilla 3/2 flyer is not very good, But the Ward ability makes it reasonable. It's okay. It's okay. Not a great limited card. It is also not a very good blocker, so it's fine. It's fine. Up next is Wormhole Serpent. 5 mana for a 3/5. 4 mana, creature can't be blocked this turn. This is like your limited stall breaker. If you're a slow draft deck, this card will win the game for you. Very good and sealed, probably. Contextual to like how fast the format is. The fact that it's a good blocker is great. So you play this, you block some stuff, buy some time, draw some cards, put mana in this, win the game. Solid limited card for sure. And that's blue, folks. That is blue. So many words on these cards, all right? YouTube folks, like, comment, subscribe. Look for the next one coming up, which will be black, of course. If you missed lessons or white, go check those out. And make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what card you think is the best card in blue. Am I wrong? Am I right? YouTube folks, I love you. Like, comment, subscribe.